Hey, it's Tina Forsyth. I help experts turn their IP into certification and licensing programs. And today I want to share with you 5 questions to ask yourself when you are considering a pivot, when you're looking to make a change in your business. It seems like there's a lot of this going on right now for business owners. There's a lot of folks I see and that I'm talking to that are really looking to make changes and some bigger changes in their business, maybe changing some of the offerings, some of the revenue streams that they've created, changing some of the markets that they're working with and tapping into, making changes with team and structure, or even making changes with an entire business and moving into something else. So if you're in this space of pivoting, I want you to ask yourself these 5 questions as you navigate those waters. The first question is, why do I want to pivot? What is it that's having me want to make a change? Is it what's going on in your business and or in your life that's having you want to make a change? It could be related to the business itself. Maybe you're tired of working with certain clients. Maybe you're feeling bored. Maybe what you're doing isn't working anymore. You're really struggling to continue to offer the things you're offering, or struggling with the marketing or sales. Maybe the demand for it has shifted or changed. Maybe personally, you've been working too many hours. You're feeling really drained. You want to make a bigger change with the type of business and how you're working and the way that that fits in with your lifestyle. Get really, really clear on why you want to pivot. And ideally, a side note here is it needs to be a reason that is consistent. You don't want to make these decisions in the heat of the moment with a very stressful or emotional thing, right? Like, let's say you lose a big client in that moment. And, in those moments, of course, we might think, I just want to be done with the whole darn thing, right? But an emotional moment, an emotional decision like that, where you might end up just throwing the whole thing out the door, isn't necessarily going to be a good longer term reason, right? Really be aware of the emotions behind, and in particular, any reactionary emotions that might be driving the pivot, because that might not be the right reason to do it, frankly. Second question, what do you need to let go of? In order to create something new, you need to also create space for that thing to happen. So what is it you need to let go of in order to pivot? Is it an existing offer or revenue stream that you're no longer going to offer to people? Is it a current market or type of client, or a specific client that you're working with that you want to create space through? Is it a way of working in your business, right? Maybe you want to let go of your current role in certain things and have other people in the team step into those areas so that you are freed up more to focus, and that you're creating space for this pivot. If you don't create space for it, it's just not going to happen, right? It'll just get added to the list of everything else, and chances are it's not going to happen then. So what do you need to let go of? And also, what's the risk that comes into play with letting go of something? Say you're shutting down a certain offer. What's the risk there? There can be a risk of lost income. There can be a risk of it's going to take more time to gear up on the marketing end with this new thing, or whatever that might be. Be very aware of the risk, in particular, the financial risks that can come into play around this. Number 3 is, what am I going to pivot to? And have I validated that thing? Do not pivot to an idea. You need to prove your idea. You need to validate your idea before you actually make the pivot. I have seen people throw out entire revenue streams, offers, even businesses based on a great idea that they had, only to find out that the idea isn't working. There's not really a market for it. It's not really what people want, or it's not what people want at the price point they were hoping for. And, or maybe it's just a lot harder than they were expecting. And of course, that situation really sucks if that happens. So knowing what you're pivoting to and making sure that you have validated that model. How do you know that there's demand for it? How do you know what it's actually going to take to make it happen, right? Maybe even do a beta run or a test run or a few things to really tap into and make sure that it's a good thing. We don't want you pivoting out of something without being able to pivot in to whatever's next successfully. There'll be work to be done, of course, but we want it to be successful. Now, question number 4. How do I know? How will I know if what I'm pivoting into is successful? Like, what needs to be true in this pivot in order for you to look back on it, say 6 months or a year from now, and say, okay, that was great. It was a good move. I'm happy I did this. Again, there's a financial element usually to this from a business perspective, like how much money, how much income, how many new clients in a program. There can be, I'm working with a different type of client now, an up-leveled type of client who's a better fit for some of the services you want to do. You can also be measuring your own time and energy. Are you now getting more of your time back? You're having to work less hours, more time for family and such. Energy wise, are you feeling more excited about what you're doing now? You've let go of something maybe you don't want to do anymore, and you're stepping into work that really lights up your soul now. It's important to identify, how will I know if this pivot is going to be successful? And the last question is, who do I need to become in order to make this pivot? Who do I need to become? This is all about a leadership question. Anytime we up level in our businesses, anytime we step into something new, it is going to call us to step up in our own leadership. How do I need to show up in the world differently? What actions do I need to start taking? What are some things I need to stop doing? Where do I need to be maybe more visible or more bold? What are the things that can stop me? Where could I get stuck? And how am I going to navigate through those challenges? That personal side, this is really the personal growth journey of the whole thing too, because really a pivot, a successful pivot, is going to require that we're stepping up into our next level of leadership. So I would love to hear from you. If you're considering a pivot right now, leave a comment below, or if you have successfully pivoted in your business to something new or different, I would love to hear about that as well. And if any one of these particular questions is jumping out at you and you want to go ahead and answer and discuss that in the comments, go ahead and do that below. Thanks for watching, everybody. It's Tina Forsyth. I'll see you next time.